This is the Dental Up Podcast, your daily source for insights from dentists and leaders in the industry. Brought to you by Keating Dental Lab, a full-service, award-winning dental lab that is here to add value to your dental practice. With high-quality restorations, friendly, reliable service, the best products and prices, come experience the Keating difference. Visit KeatingDentalLab.com for details.
My guest today is Dr. Shawn Casey, president and founder of Casey Dental in Pittston, Pennsylvania. Casey Dental is a unique practice because it truly encompasses all dental specialties under one roof. What started as a solo GP office has now grown into 8 doctors practicing in the same building, working together to elevate patient care and offering a more convenient setting for working families. Dr. Casey is also a member of the Academy of General Dentistry and helped our laboratory gain a footing with this great organization. Welcome to the Dental Lab Podcast, Dr. Casey. Good afternoon, Dr. Casey. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you're on the road this weekend, but welcome to the Dental Lab Podcast and tell all of our listeners where you're headed to.
My pleasure, Bob. I'm heading to Avalon, New Jersey. It's just, for those of you on the West Coast, it's near Atlantic City, about 45 minutes south, right over Jersey, the Jersey Shore.
Awesome. Well, have a great weekend. I know it's well-deserved because I've seen all the cases you've sent us this past week, but you and your team have been really busy, and I can't thank you enough. You've been a Keating customer since day one with us, and it's been over 20 years now. And again,
wow,
I just
live.
I know it really does, but
live.
I can't thank you enough for your loyalty and your dedication to our laboratory out here in California. Can you tell us how you first came to know Keating Dental Arts? It was Arts back in the day.
Well, I knew Shawn prior to him starting his lab a little bit. And when he did his new lab, I said, I want to come join you because I know he was familiar with my work already. And we started the process then. And ever since, we've been together.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. And yeah, that's a testament to your and Shawn, two Shawns really, the relationship that you guys have had for 20 years. It's amazing. So thank you.
And the other crew too. You got the other guys in the lab, you just beside yourself, but you have Jim.
Absolutely.
And Removable, and the other team that's out there too. They're the guys where always talked back and forth. They've always been there when I needed them or asked questions with cases and so forth. So it's been I enjoy working with your lab.
Well, this is a team. This is a team business and a relationship business. And we feel exactly the same about you and all your staff and your team at Casey Dental. Our two businesses have meshed very well over the years. And I know we'll get into this in a little bit, but I mean, I can't be more impressed with the evolution of your practice. You came to visit us, gosh, this is probably 15 years ago. And you explained to me the vision of your personal practice and what it was going to become. And I was blown away, but we'll touch on that in a little bit. But let's start with, the first time I actually met you face to face. You brought one of your high profile patients out to the lab, and Shawn had just built this operatory and was like, man, we got to use this. We got to use it and get some people in and film the case and everything. And I remember I picked you and your patient up on a Thursday morning at a hotel here in Orange County. And you told me, well, this guy's an old Notre Dame football player. And I kept thinking to myself, man, I'm going to hate this guy because I'm an SC guy. And there's no way that we're going to get along at all. But it was a tremendous experience. What a gentleman, what a great experience. Nice guy, genuine, down to earth. Can you tell us a little bit about that case?
Well, it was kind of interesting because we wanted to get hands-on technique from the lab techs, and we wanted to make sure that it was done perfect. And you could have done this case traditionally with an impression and everything to make the case complete. But I felt that, with the personal service, the fast turnaround, because the lab was going to say, let's prep and let's impress and let's fabricate the case overnight. And that's exactly what we did.
Man, and I remember hearing Shawn say, my Shawn, not say, yeah, we're going to do it overnight. And I was like, dude, this is impossible. How are we going to do this overnight? But yeah, you prepped an entire maxillary arch in, I think it was like two and a half hours, and took the impression. Yeah, we did the work all Thursday night, and you guys showed up again. Do you remember Thursday morning? I have this vivid memory of us
The lab
being
we couldn't get into the lab. We couldn't get the
it
door was locked. We had to go over the
crazy.
ceiling tile.
The door to the operatory, the first time we were going to use it, and
The cleaning crew locked it. They weren't supposed to.
I know, we were a little bit neurotic. We had the nighttime cleaning crews like, guys, you got to clean this so nice. You got to make this like spotless. And they locked the freaking door to the one door of the lab that nobody had a key to. It was a nightmare.
It was a lot of fun, but we pulled it off because we were like, oh, now what do we do?
Yeah. And I mean, I remember.
We got up early in the morning too because no one was even there.
It was super early. Yeah. I picked you guys up at like 6 a.m. and we get back and the door's locked, and I had this.
It was a lot of fun.
It was, and we pulled out a ladder and, punched through some false ceiling tiles and climbed over the top. And I was like, I remember I told your patient, I was like, man, that's a little bit like Marcus Allen going over the top of the line.
That's right.
Remember? And he's like, yeah, it was. But yeah, no. So, I mean, geez, that was such a cool case and such a great experience. And I remember your patient was so nice and so gracious. He brought in a stack of memorabilia. And I mean, at that time in the lab, we had close to 100 people, and he was perfect with everybody. Took a picture, signed an autograph until the last single employee in the laboratory got something from him. Truly amazing.
It was a good experience. It was a fun time.
Yeah, it was. That was cool. And I mean, that was the first time I got to meet you in person, and that was amazing too. But yeah, back in those days, I mean, your office was a little bit smaller, but now it's really evolved into something fantastic. I mean, where you truly offer all dental specialties under one roof. So tell us a little bit about your vision and how your practice came to be.
Well, I believe in access to care. And the thing was, we were doing a lot of referrals out of the office. And I had some friends and some colleagues of mine that were coming back to the area. But, setting up an office isn't cheap. So I decided to expand and go to the next level. So I hired some young professionals right out of school, and we developed the general dentistry side of the practice. Over time, a good friend of mine was an orthodontist. Dr. Novelli was back in the area. Walter joined the practice. We both went to school at University of Pittsburgh together, and we developed the ortho general side of it. Over time, there's a pediatric dentist that was going to be semi-retired, so I wanted to develop that. We brought that in. We developed pediatrics. And with pediatrics, then we later formed a special needs dental program. Throughout time, we developed the orthodontic part of it even more with another doctor that came to the area. And then we sort of stayed status quo for a while until later we developed our oral surgery program. Developing Casey Dental into a multi-specialty practice with pediatrics and oral surgery, orthodontics, and general dentistry. It was great for families because, mom and dad could be getting a cleaning and so can their son or daughter. Maybe it can come in at once and I'll leave at once. So access to care for the family made it a lot easier for people. Not only that, but as they grew and as they developed, it's a team approach. As they got older and we joke around and say you're going to graduate to the general side of it from pediatrics. Some kids and some families look forward to that to have an older brother and older sister. So it's a little,
that's a cool concept. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. And the parents like it because, as we grow, they grow and, they enjoy the services, which they can get a lot more. Plus, they don't have to go to different places. So for me, I love the model. I like everything under one facility, and it works out well. And especially with a great team approach, you can always use each other for not only patients, but even like picking each other's brain afterwards on different cases and so forth. Or if you get into situations that you need somebody to help you out with, it's always great to have somebody there that's more knowledgeable on such circumstances. So that works out great for everybody. Absolutely.
I mean, what you've created, I mean, that elevates patient care. Just what you're talking about with having a specialist, close by in the same building and under the same roof. I mean, you can run different scenarios by and get their input. And I mean, I think what you've done is fantastic. You've made it convenient for patients. You've increased the access to care, and you've brought everything under your roof, and you're the quarterback and you run the show. And I've been so impressed with what you've done over the past, dozen years here. It's really, really a beautiful concept you've created. So you introduced me to the AGD several years ago, and we were at a meeting together in Baltimore. And my first day there, I said, gosh, this is our crowd. This is really it. This is general dentists who want to be at the top of the profession, want to learn about everything, want to increase their education and their experience. And I thought it was a perfect match for our lab. And you really started us off on this journey several years ago. And now you've created that in your own practice, if you will, by bringing all the specialties under your roof. Tell me about your personal experience with the AGD and when you started and how you've progressed through the Academy of General Dentistry.
Well, when I started the AGD, a colleague of mine said, you would love this. You would enjoy being engaged with other colleagues of ours, other dentists that get together. And twice a year, or sometimes 3 times a year in Pennsylvania, they would meet as a group of doing different tracks to get their masters in the AGD. So they bring in different speakers and different topics, and you would get a lot of CE from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So they're great weekends. And in Pennsylvania, we would move them around the different parts of the state. For example, we started in Philadelphia in the fall. In the springtime, we might be in Pittsburgh. And then we come to the Northeast, PA, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area. And then we rotate it back to maybe Erie and different parts all over the state. The theory behind the one in Pennsylvania was when you go to these weekend ventures, they would want to prime the economy. So, for example, Thursday when you do case presentations, later that night, we may have a host in the area host a party, but have a local person come in and cater. On a Friday after an event, we would go to, some local theme in the area. If it was Philadelphia, we'd pick something in Philly. Maybe go to a Phillies game. If it was in Pittsburgh, maybe we'd go to a Pirates game or do something like that. You follow me? We'd try to prime the area.
Yeah,
it was involved with different parts of the states. In Scranton, they did the coal mine tour. They wanted to do the office tour, but the office is not filmed in Scranton. But
where's it filmed?
Probably Hollywood. Who knows?
Probably.
But but they would do we go different breweries. Like for example, SBC is a brewery near us. They come in, do micro beers, and they taste them, and everybody there would participate, have a good time, play some games and certain stuff like that. So they always used to elevate the economy, and they would do that by staying at the hotel, but they would try to go somewhere in the community. By doing that, it shows a lot of community effort, which is nice. But not only that, but then going forward to these different programs with CE and everything, you engage with the speaker on a smaller level. So you might only have 50 to 100 people in a classroom, but you would engage with that speaker because that speaker would come out with you afterwards, spend some time with you, get to know you a little better, because some of these guys would speak, over 2 days. But learning that experience is a great experience for a professional. And nationally, they do a great job with it. And that's why I was telling Shawn initially that, this is an organization that you won't go wrong with because they want to keep up with different CE, especially I know you guys are always accommodating to that by doing stuff at the lab and also doing outreach with certain programs to encourage dentists to, get more involved. I remember back in the day, you did an aesthetic course. You would offer that a little bit. So, with that being said, in conjunction with AGD learning, it's a great opportunity as a professional, along with the lab and along with the individual.
Yeah, education is so important, continuing education, and the content has to be high level. It can't, have a really like a sales pitch to it. It needs to be science-based, and it needs to, it needs to be
evidence-based is what their main thing is. They love evidence-based.
Evidence-based learning, absolutely.
Evidence-based dentistry, right. Yep. Show us how it works and show us why. And that's their main claim. Yep.
I love it. And that meshes so well with, our philosophy here at the laboratory. I went through the COIS symposium and met a lot of AGD dentists there as well. And COIS is evidence-based dentistry. And it just, the whole philosophy meshes so well with, what we've tried to achieve here as a business and obviously you with your practice as well. So let's transition a little bit into some of your new toys that you've purchased for the practice, because you and I have been talking about this for a number of years, and I'm so happy that you made the transition, and I know it's working out really well because I've seen the cases. So tell the Dental Lab podcast crowd, what you purchased and how it's helped you.
Well, I originally started out, we had the Prime E4D Plan Mecha scan. Later, we developed into the CIRAC, using the CIRAC with the Prime Mill. We also have the iTero and the Trios. But what I learned about digital scanning is because it's so much easier for the patient. I mean, just think about it. In dental school, you were mixing rubber base on a pad. Then came out the polyvinyls. Then came out the 3M product with rubber, or not rubber base,
Polyether.
polyether material, polyether. And, to see some of these products evolve from now it's not going to be 5 minutes in your mouth down to 3 minutes. And, with the trays and everything else, and try to give her different techniques so that the patient wouldn't gag and everything else. With a scan body in someone's mouth, or for an implant case, or when you're just scanning a patient, I mean, the technology, even since I started using scanning devices, like the ones that are here today in 2022, are unbelievable. You can communicate with the lab by saying, angle it this way. You can do a nice transition back and forth with communication where it's right in front of you, where you're not ditching a die or anything like that at all. So it makes life a little bit easier. Not only that, but some of these scans, if you have a characteristic in a tooth and you're scanning it, you can tell by the adjacent tooth or the one below it or above it to see some of the definition and some of the character in it when you go to stain it or glaze it. So it makes even your life a little bit easier instead of looking at a stone model. So I think you get a more realistic approach. I mean, who would ever think that it's like a video game you're designing somebody's teeth today?
It is.
It's unbelievable.
It is. And that's
print
been
it out. It's mind-boggling. I mean, it's unbelievable.
No, it definitely is. And that's the challenge. That was the challenge for us as technicians in the early day. It's like, gosh, we're so used to, working with our hands and we still do. I mean, we're still a traditional dental laboratory, but the transition into the video game aspect of the dental lab business was hard. It was, I'm in my early 50s, and it was a challenge for me to adapt to doing something on a screen. And, okay, margin tracing was easy, but then, gosh, you could take your brush and pick up some porcelain and add some contour here to the restoration, but how do you do that two-dimensionally on a computer screen? It was a challenge, but, luckily I have the team has much better people doing that now than me.
No, but you're right, because I'm in my 50s, and that's a big challenge. I mean, with the computer technology and the way it goes to the next level, it's very impressive. And, you think about it now, where it's at today, where is it going to be 5 years from now? Where is it going to be 10 years from now? I mean, look at the definition of all this porcelain coming out. And don't forget, too, you just don't print them. You can print them, and then you finesse them by adding on some, or you glaze them a certain way and you stain them. But where are we going to go? Where is it going to be in 5 or 10 years from now? It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited too for the technology. What is, what's coming next, and what materials are coming next, and how are the restorations going to be more lifelike? I mean, so you've done a lot of our Kdz Bruxer aesthetic, and I know you've milled Emacs.
Great product. Great product.
In your, and you continue to mill Emacs every day, right? In your office?
Yeah, we do. We do. But there's a difference. The Kdz Brooks is a great unit. It's very nice.
Yeah, and what's your opinion in terms of the aesthetic quality of Kdz Bruxer aesthetic versus Emacs? Are you seeing much of a difference?
Well, the Kdz Bruxer, you can see a little bit more definition to it. To me, I mean, they're both great restorations, but a more youthful person, someone younger, if you can, I think the Kdz Bruxer looks nicer. More youthful comparison, but I mean, sometimes you just can't tell. But at the end of the day, they're both great products, but the Kdz Bruxer will give somebody, in my opinion, more youthful looking restoration and a little more depth and definition.
And with the scanning technology, we can still do everything, old school, like you would with impressions. I mean, we just did that 9-unit PFM, bridge. We just did that, and you did that digitally.
That came out awesome. And there's a good challenge. The young man had a cleft palate, and we had to redo that over. That was done 25 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So we just basically popped off the old one where the porcelain cracked, and we designed it. But let's talk about that case. It was pretty interesting. Young man had a cleft palate, so much easier to scan, made our life easy. But we had the older temporaries on him, the older restoration to compare to. So by using the older pictures before we actually removed the original bridge, we took it off, we cleaned it all up. So you had something to go by originally, and that was done a long time ago on this young man. Now he's a young adult. Of course, things change, but now scanning and comparing back and forth, it's easier for you digitally to do that. And it worked out great.
Absolutely. Having the scan for essentially, what was going to become the blueprint for the new final restoration. So you scan that, and we print the model, and then we make, the incisal index and, the buccal profile index, and we wax, for, 1.5 to 2 millimeter porcelain cutback. We use that, and then the ceramist basically uses those indices to stack to, and perfect outcome because you did everything correct on your end at the start by giving us the blueprint and the roadmap to follow. So thank you for that.
Template, right. But what's good is we can reference that 1, 2, 3. It's easy to do. Just have to share the whatever is easier for cases like that. We didn't have to do that in this case, but I know in some of these cases that could be challenging, especially something like this where we're trying to fit teeth in an area that's not really ideal.
Yeah, the spacing and the asymmetry was a challenge. And if we didn't have the exact blueprint on what to go by, we could have got that wrong. We could have put the pontics in the incorrect area, and it would have thrown the whole case off, obviously. But, also having the incisal edge guide of his provisional, and I know you worked very hard to get the incisal plane level to his interpupillary line. That way, we're not going to have a canted prosthesis.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, no, the digital technology has come a long way. I mean, we right after you and I spoke the other day, we got a connection from a dentist, in Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska, and I was like, "Holy smokes, this is nuts!" But it's connecting the whole world together digitally. It's a beautiful thing. So let's go back. So you have a Sirona, you have the Prime Scan, and you have a Trios, and you have an iTero. How have you differentiated those 3 different scanners within your practice?
Craziness. That's the first thing. Why somebody's scratching their head saying, "Why do you have so many?" Well, we did the iTero because of Invisalign.
Sure.
And we then started with the Trios because of the Straumann implant system.
Okay.
And for scanning with the scan bodies. So, ortho's busy using the iTero, and then we started using the Trios. We sort of got away from using the plan scan originally from the E4D, and then we started using, I think it was called Emerald. And then Prime Mill came out with the Prime Scan from Dentsply, Sirona, and it was just unbelievable. I mean, the definition, the quality, what you're looking at is unbelievable. And so we sort of attracted to that. And then from there, we developed into it, and we're very happy with it. So it's a great result. You have some different options today, other than just doing EMAX. You can do katana little blocks, which makes it nice, and so forth. And, zirconia restorations are coming a long way. But the definition of the scan and the technique, the ease of using it works so much easier than originally. And I know the labs appreciate the technology as long as everybody's on the same page with it, as far as using the right program to interpret it and so forth, and it works out great.
Oh, we do. It's phenomenal. It is the single best thing that's happened really in the dental technology world, I think, is scanning. It eliminates the largest sources of error on both sides of the equation, which, for dentists, it's taking the impression. And for us in the laboratory, it's pouring up the die stone model. And just by the nature of eliminating those sources of error, we're going to get better results. And we do.
Well, not only that, but you could take a look at people on the East Coast shipping out to the West Coast. You press send, you have it immediately. So we're not waiting an extra day, and you're not waiting an extra day to receiving it.
Yeah.
For shipping wise, you're getting it instantaneously when it's done. You get a nice confirmation with an email, so you know that it's been sent.
Yep.
So it's like, if your practice is open late on the East Coast, or you want to do early in the morning, instead of waiting the next day for UPS or FedEx to come pick up that package, and you're gonna be delayed a little bit.
It definitely speeds everything up. And the second fact I'd like to mention is that there's no distortion. I mean, yeah, and there's no distortion. I mean, there's no impression sitting in a box in a UPS driver's hot van, or sitting in a warehouse overnight somewhere where extremes in temperature can affect the dimensional stability of the material. We used to see it primarily with alginate impressions for opposing arches in the summer, where they just arrive here bone dry, and we can't even pour stone into it because the impression's already so brittle. But the fact that we're eliminating sources of error on both sides of the equation is great. And that's what digital technology is all about, and the speed.
Well, it's kind of funny. If you do remember, about 15 years ago, it was just teased a little bit. You were telling me how some of this was going to take place with the denture world. And I thought you were nuts. But
I am.
Look at it today. It's amazing how the technology came about. You were saying about how they're trying these different things out with different pictures and trying to do these captions with different things. And I was like, I don't think dentistry is ever going to be in this direction. I was 100% wrong. It is probably the neatest tool. But even like dental schools, I mean, some dental schools aren't up to speed with it yet, because they want to teach traditionally the way it should be done. But this next generation, everything's on their cell phone. So it's amazing how it's going to take us into the next 5 to 10 years. I'm interested and I'm curious, but not only that, I'm excited to see how the next revolution of this is going to take place in dentistry.
Yeah. And I'm convinced that digital impressioning is going to become the gold standard. It's not a matter of if, but when. It's really there. It works. It works predictably. It's faster. It's actually more cost effective when you think about everything, including time, assistance time, materials, shipping costs. I mean, shipping's not cheap. Gas is, I don't know where it is where you are, but gas out here is too expensive. And
I know California right now is at $6 and change.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things. Digital technology is connecting us all together. It's allowing us to go faster. I mean, we've had cases, and I'm not sure if we've done any for you, but even smile design cases. And I know you have the iTero, and the orthodontist in your office will be able to put the preview function for the patient or the smile simulation where they can see the final outcome. And it's like, it's a life-changing event when a patient can see on the screen what their end of treatment is going to look like. And that exists for 3Shape as well. There's a smile design studio module in the 3Shape software that we use all the time, and we'll design and move some teeth around, and we'll print a resin model and send it back to the doctor so the doctor can have the consultation with the patient. And seeing teeth that are straight and all in the same plane and everything looks nice is a really life-changing experience for a lot of patients. And we can do that so cost effectively and so much quicker in the digital realm than we could by pouring impressions, duplicating models, waxing up everything by hand.
Agree. Definitely. Absolutely, it does.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Casey, thank you so much for your time. I sincerely thank you and your wife for really taking the time out of your trip for your weekend away, for spending time with us and for helping us yet once again. You've been one of our most valued customers of Keating Dental Art since the inception of the business. And again, I can't thank you enough for your loyalty and dedication to us over these 20 years. It's truly.
Well, you guys are great. You put out a good product, and you're always there for a phone call, email. You always respond back great. If someone's going to communicate with a lab, you guys are it. You guys do a great job. I've been very successful, the long-term customers, you can see. And I introduce other colleagues of mine to come on board. I mean, it's because it works out. I mean, even touring the lab, if you guys are out there listening, never saw Keating Dental with the lab, just take a trip out the lab and get a tour of it, because I think you'd appreciate what goes on behind the scenes on the different levels of different departments, and from removable to just doing crown and bridge and everything else with the digital treatment planning. They do a great job. And I think interacting with them on a more personal base like I did, I think brought our relationship more successful. When I could call up and say, and the girl answers, they know you're calling from that doctor's office because your phone number, of course. But when I say, where's Bob? No problem, Shawn. Let me get him on the phone for you. Or Dr. Day. Like
They better say Dr. Casey.
It's right, exactly. But that's how the relationship you want to establish with people. That's what I do, and it works out great. And I recommend that to anybody.
Well, thank you so much for your kind words. We sincerely appreciate you, and I'll let you go. I know you still have to get back and drive. And thank you so much. And again, anything that we can do for you to help, we're here for you. And I just wish you all the best. Thank you.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it. Enjoy the weekend.
You too, Dr. Casey. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Dental Up podcast, your daily source for insights from dentists and leaders in the industry. This episode is sponsored by Keating Dental Lab. here to add value to your dental practice. With high-quality restorations, friendly, reliable service, the best products and prices, come experience the Keating difference. Visit KeatingDentalLab.com for details.